G'day guys, welcome back to True Eagle. As we get a little bit closer to the preseason action, I'm going to make some predictions about the West Coast Eagles in 2024. I've got 10 for you. Generally, they're pretty positive. There seems something wrong about making predictions that are negative about your own club before the season starts. So, I've got 10 things that I am ambitiously expecting to see in season 2024. By the way, I really appreciate all the support jumping on the new channel True Eagle. So if there's anyone out there that's an Eagles fan and wants to see plenty of West Coast content, I've just started this channel and I tend to be very consistent bringing you Eagles analytical content. So please subscribe. All right, let's kick it off my first prediction. I think that Brady Hoff will be in the 22 under 22 team at the end of the year. So every year the AFL announces a 22 under 22, the best players under 22. It's like a little mini All-Australian. My prediction here is that Brady Hoff will make the team on a half-back flank this year. We've seen 30 games from Brady Hoff, and in particular, games 25 to about 30, that last 5 to 6 weeks of the season last year is where he really took his game to the next level. Performed a great shutdown role on Charlie Cameron at the Gabba. I think he kept him goalless, and then I particularly remember just games towards the end of the year where suddenly every time he got the ball, I felt very confident. So he continues that trajectory. He's going to be a very good player, should pass 50 games, touch wood this season, and I think it will result in him getting in the 22 under 22. Another boldish prediction, Ryan Marck, who has beefed up a little bit this offseason after his first preseason this year. My prediction with him is I reckon we could see 25 goals from Marck. So he's played 10 games. He kicked 9 goals, which means he's still eligible for the Rising Star, so maybe he gets a nomination too. But 25 goals is only about a goal a game, and I think this guy does have some very natural goal nous. You know, there were some games where he may have only kicked a goal a game last year, but there were games where he didn't seem to be too much of a factor, and then suddenly he'd bob up in the right place, kick a goal. He's good aerially, and he's good at ground level, and I just think 25 goals a season, a goal a game from Ryan Marck is super achievable and would also be a great result. My next Eagles prediction is I think we will see one retirement next year, no more than that. I think Andrew Gaff will retire. He'll hang up the boots at the end of 2024. He's out of contract. And I think Jack Darling and Elliot Yeo will play on. So Elliot Yeo would only retire, I think, if he has another bad year with injury. So touch wood, that is possible. But Andrew Gaff, out of those three, is probably the most vulnerable of losing his spot in the side. And when you're 32 years of age and out of contract and you can't keep your spot in the best 22, you're probably not going to get another contract. So I am optimistic about what Gaff can contribute this year. I don't think he had a great year last year. Sounds like his body is better than it has been in a little while, which is a good start. But at the same time, he's 32. And we do have a little bit of competition for spots now. By contrast, I think Jack Darling is somewhat safe in the team, and I'm more confident that he will have a good year. I think Andrew Gaff will be better than last year, but I don't think it will be enough for him to go on again in 2025, and Darling and Yeo will play on. My fourth prediction is somewhat ambitious as well. I'm going to say Tyrell Diwa or Tyrell Dua. I'm assured that it's Diwa. I believe that he will make his debut at some point in this season. So last year he had a pretty good end to the Waffle season in a diabolical Waffle Eagles team. In the last 6 games he averaged about 15 touches, and as a medium forward who's quite raw, and who was deployed in a bit more of a higher role last year. It sounded like he had a bit more of a spot on the wing. And against Subi, he had 20 touches and a goal. So to get 15 touches a game in his last 6 games, I think that's pretty damn good, because I think he started the season not quite ready for Waffle level, let alone AFL level. We saw some good signs in the intra-club, did a couple of good things. I reckon by the end of the season, we will have at least seen Tyrell Dua or Diwa debut. My fifth prediction is that by the end of the season, Campbell Chesser will be established in our best 22. So obviously missed his first season through injury, busted his ankle in the preseason. Having missed a lot of football in his junior career as well leading up to the draft, he had missed a lot of football by the time he actually debuted. The team itself had become a little bit of a shambles with injury around that time, and it did take Chesser a little bit to acclimatise to AFL level. From memory, he does his MCL in the Western Derby, where everything went wrong, came back and looked a lot more of a composed, assured player, and I still think has work to do, and I still think likely starts outside of the team by round 1, barring some excellent form in the preseason. But I will say that if we can keep our Waffle Eagles together somewhat, like we don't have too many injuries and the team is competitive, I think that could foster a good environment for Chesser to build some confidence improvements at waffle level, and I believe that by the end of the year, he will have forced himself into the 22. The next one is a little bit left field. I'm going to predict ambitiously, perhaps, that Luke Edwards earns himself another contract extension. He's out of contract, not coming off the strongest year. We've seen Luke Edwards show some good signs at AFL level, but it's getting to the point where it's been a little while since we've seen it, and I know that his body has let him down. He had groin issues for a little while there. I think his best performance was against Richmond when JK kicked that late sealer. I think he had 27 touches, 10 touches in the last quarter in that game. That's the Luke Edwards that I'm craving we see. Now, my logic for him working his way back into the team and earning another contract is that in the intra-club, apparently he started in the stronger side. They played the probables versus the possibles, and on top of that, I've heard other players comment on Luke Edwards doing a really good job, both on the inside and the outside, and given he might start as a wingman, that is also an area we don't have a lot of depth in. So Luke Edwards will earn himself another contract in 2024. My seventh prediction is that Jeremy McGovern will have his best season at AFL level since 2019. Now, this is not super bold because I was looking through his career stats. So he actually barely missed a game between 2015 and 2020. He is actually a very durable player. And we all remember, the injury he sustained in the prelim of 2018, and he still played the grand final. He hasn't played more than 15 games since 2020. And in the last 2 years, he's only played 19 games. But the injuries he's had seems pretty damn unlucky. Well, the first one, I think in 2022, someone kneed him in the ribs. And the second one was a torn high hamstring. So I suppose that one's less unlucky. But I do still think that since he's slimmed down, the football he's played for us has actually been pretty good. So I'm going to back him in to, well, I suppose the threshold is play at least 15 games, but I reckon we could see a year where Jeremy McGovern gets close to the All-Australian squad. I still think there's a good player in there. I think he's in good shape. He's missed a lot of football. I'm backing him in. And to be honest, we kind of need him to have a good year. My eighth prediction is that Oscar Allen will kick more goals in 2024 than he did in 2023. So he kicked 53 goals, which is by far and away a career best season last year. It's not too hard to extrapolate that form and suggest he'll go better this year because A, he's prodigiously talented. B, I believe we will improve as a team and get more inside 50s, and then in theory he should kick more. But even things like what his teammates are saying, and which I know is a bit cliche to buy into, but a lot of his teammates are saying he's looking better than ever this preseason. And even in the intra-club, he didn't necessarily stand out, but he did a couple of stupid things where I was just like, wow, this guy is super talented. So 53 goals, I think, he's easily going to eclipse that, pending fitness, touch wood. My ninth prediction is an audacious one. I will say that Harley Reed finishes top 5 in our best and fairest. Now, we know that the best and fairest is largely biased towards players who play a lot of football. So if you play more games, you're more likely to rank highly. The 4 players that I think will finish ahead of him will be, I think Liam Duggan is a good chance if he plays a lot of football. Oscar Allen, Tim Kelly, and even Jaden Hunt. I think this guy is, I think he's become one of our best players. Like, he was unreal last year, and I've been very impressed with Jaden Hunt. So rather than get fixated on who the other 4 are, I think Harley Reed will be impactful enough and good enough to finish top 5 if he plays enough football. And the final prediction, I think we will avoid the wooden spoon. I don't know if that is going to be considered ambitious by some or if others will just think that's lowballing it. I just feel very confident. And my reason being is when you think that North Melbourne are probably our biggest competitor for the wooden spoon, if you want to call it that. I think if we can keep our best 22 together, we are still a lot more experienced and a lot more physically mature than North Melbourne. And so one way or another, it might not even be North Melbourne that wins the spoon, but I just don't think we will win it. Pending, some sort of injury crisis. Again, touch wood. I'm sick of saying that. Anyway, guys, that is my short and sharp 10 predictions for the West Coast Eagles in season 2024. Once again, thank you for everyone getting around this channel. I really appreciate it. And everyone let me know in the comments section what your predictions are for season 2024 and also what you think of mine. But for now, I'll say goodbye and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.